All right, welcome on back everyone to First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issue from every council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Black Swamp Area 449 out of Ohio. Council was formed in 1992 as the merger of Put Hansen Area 449 and Shawnee 452. All right, the first issue here does have two variations, the S1A on screen now and the S1B. We'll be able to take a look at both. A couple of details will allow us to differentiate the two pretty easily. But we see that the CSP is defined with its black border, blue sky with pale yellow sun. Specifically is denoted as a 10 millimeter wide gold mylar fleur-de-lis and a red Ohio with some green trees there on the side. The fleur-de-lis is what they use in the description as the size of the fleur-de-lis is the main differentiating point between the S1A and the S1B, but we're going to see some other notable differences that are going to allow it to pretty easily without being able to measure. So if you were just looking at the patch by itself, I think you're going to be able to see the differences to where you could determine whether or not you had the S1A or S1B you were looking at. So here is the back. It is a more modern patch, plastic backed, nothing too elaborate there. Really nice clean patch. Obviously kind of the more modern machine stitched backing there. Really tight weave on this. It is a fully embroidered patch, so it is a solidly sewn S type patch, S1A here. Let's take a look then at the S1B. Again, we're going to be looking at the same image, obviously, when the variations are A and B. So we have the same patch here, defined by the same black border, blue sky, pale yellow sun. Here, they distinctly note that instead of being 10 millimeters wide, this is now moved up to 12 millimeters. The shape itself of the fleur-de-lis is going to be distinctive. This one is not only larger, but we find more defined pointing on these top points for the fleur-de-lis when we look at them directly compared. Same red Ohio, same green trees, although the shape of the green trees, especially in the sun, is going to be noteworthy, as well as these cattails. Let's take a look at the back here, the S1B. Essentially, it's going to look the same from the back. Not really much of a distinction there. Same modern style plastic backed CSP. I'm going to move the B down here towards the bottom. See if we can make room to put the S1A up here towards the top. One of the first things that jumps out to me when looking at the difference, if I'm not able to actually measure the width of the fleur-de-lis, if I'm only looking at one of these online, the first thing I'm going to note is the really thin cattail heads on the S1B are much different than the fatter cattail heads here in the swamp on the first issue S1A. Secondarily, if I look at these two trees in the sun, they are exceptionally pointed, whereas the tips here on the S1A are very much rounded. And then if I look to the corners here on the fleur-de-lis, as I said, these are going to be a much sharper pointed corner on the S1B, and it's kind of just kind of rounded off here on the fleur-de-lis edges of the S1A. So a couple of very easy points to see the distinction between the S1A and the S1B if you're not able to actually measure the fleur-de-lis. Obviously, just the style there you can see is pretty distinctive. The cattails are another very distinctive point. Even the thickness of the grasses for the cattails, much thicker cattail heads and grass on the S1A and much thinner on the S1B. And then the pointed trees, also very distinctive. You're going to notice a slight difference in the font, kind of the boldness or whatnot, but it doesn't stand out quite as much as the other aspects if you're trying to differentiate the two. So hopefully that will allow you to note the distinction for Black Swamp area if you were looking to differentiate the S1A first issue and the S1B as well. But really great patch, obviously representing the, I guess, swamps of Ohio. I've never been to Ohio, so I don't know the swamps there. If it's super swampy, by all means, let me know in the comments. Um, but with that, I hope you guys have, hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Again, if you have, please like and subscribe if you are not, or share this with a friend. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode.